So you want to be a good photographer. You've done the research, bought a camera, learned the basic settings, and hopefully you've watched my recent video explaining the basics of exposure using the exposure triangle. If not, click on the tag above, watch it through to the end, then return here, and you'll find the two videos combined will give you enough information to start you on your journey to better photography. So where do you go from here? If you're a new photographer, you'll have to consider that you've got the ingredients to take good photographs, but now you need the recipe. In this video, I'm going to show you the basics of composition, using a mix of my travel, wildlife and wedding photos, demonstrating where to position your subject to produce eye-catching images, using a number of composition techniques. This video is part of a series of easy-to-understand tutorials, with lots more planned. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a thing. Hi, I'm Ken Hadfield. Welcome to my Better Photography channel. But first, a big thank you to Jane from my Better Photography Facebook group for suggesting this topic. So keep your subject requests coming in, and if I think your question will benefit the whole group, I'll make a video reply. It's really important to understand that composition is a vital ingredient to capturing great images. Your photo can be technically clever and perfectly exposed, but if it's not pleasing to the eye, then it's a wasted effort. And you know, no one is really sure why using these composition rules most often results in a pleasing image. But they just work, and that's all you need to know. We start with the most commonly used composition rule, the rule of thirds. It's useful to know that with most modern cameras, you can use a grid in the viewfinder, which looks like this. So if you have a grid feature available, it's a good idea to switch it on initially to help you frame your subject when using the rule of thirds. As you can see, there are two vertical lines intersected by two horizontal lines, creating 9 equal-sided boxes. Where the lines intersect, there are 4 areas where you should consider placing the focal point of your image. Often the horizontal lines are used to guide the placement of horizons, and the vertical lines suggest the correct location to place your focal point, allowing for what's known as looking space to the left or right of the subject. This space also allows you to give more information about the area around the subject, adding to your story. Look at this family group, placed central in the frame. Why are they there? What are they looking for? Place them on the thirds, and it tells you the complete story. To focus your subject on the thirds, you should either manually move your camera's center focus point to the correct side, or you can always keep the focus point in the center, focus on the subject, then press and hold the shutter button down halfway to lock the focus, and then recompose to place your subject on the thirds. Let's look at another example where you can see that placed centrally the composition doesn't really work, but by moving the focal point to the thirds, it creates a much more pleasing image with extra detail available to the side. So let's take a look at just a few photographs in my portfolio that demonstrate the rule of thirds. There is, however, an exception, where it's perfectly acceptable to fix a horizon in the centre of the image, and that is reflection shots, as you need to balance the top and the bottom of the image for a mirror reflection. The next composition rule is the use of leading lines. Leading lines are a way of moving the viewer's eye along a path to a subject you've chosen as a focal point. This focal point may be a building or a person, but creating a pathway to your subject works really well at creating interest. Now, these leading lines can be straight or curved, but as a rule, they should lead your viewer to the point of interest. My wedding photography often gives me a perfect opportunity to use leading lines to draw attention not only to the bride and groom, but also to the buildings and pathways, allowing me the opportunity to compose interesting images. Here's just a few to show you how I use leading lines to get the best possible composition. next rule is framing. Framing your image is another rule that can add interest and sometimes uplift a bland, boring subject, and it's a firm favourite of mine. Lots of wedding venues have large, open, featureless spaces, and I'm constantly looking for different angles to create a better image, and by placing objects between the camera and the subject, it's possible to make a far more creative image. In this image, I used the branches of a tree to frame the building beyond. If you observe your surroundings carefully, you can spot opportunities like this to create unique, quirky images. Symmetry is another way to make lovely, balanced images, and the opportunities to find symmetry are everywhere. An easy way to identify a symmetrical subject is to imagine your image cut in half, and if both sides become a mirror image of each other, then it's perfect for your shot. Lots of buildings offer symmetry, as does water reflections, columns, paths and posts. So look out for symmetrical photo opportunities all around you. Finally, my favourite rule of all, that is, it's okay to break all of these rules. Photography is an art form and hugely subjective, and rules are there to be broken. So get out there, start using these composition rules, and when you're done, why don't you post your results on the Better Photography Facebook group? There's a link to join below in the description. Come and say hello. Oh, before I go, there is one final composition rule more important than any of the others. Whatever you're shooting, whatever composition you choose, check your backgrounds. Don't get carried away staring at your subject unaware that there's an object or activity going on behind that you really wouldn't want in your finished image. Keep your eyes peeled for trees, lampposts, road signs and 100 other distractions. And if you stick to these rules, I guarantee your photography will prosper and you will become a better photographer. See you next time on the Better Photography channel.